Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. Here's what's coming up on the program right now. Former governor of the central bank, Emefiele, pleads not guilty to printing naira notes at an alleged high cost during his tenure as the Apex Bank's chief. Governor Siminalayi Fubara continues with more revelation over his predecessor's tenure, claiming that former Governor Nyesom Wike left the state with high debt burden. And the federal government approves initiative to drive economic growth in infrastructure and housing sectors. Thanks again for joining us on the program. We can tell you that the former central bank governor, Emefiele, is back in court to defend allegations of printing naira notes at an alleged high cost. In a case preferred against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, he was arraigned by the agency before Justice Marian Aneni of the FCT High Court on a 4-count charge for allegedly printing 648 million naira at a cost of 18.9 billion naira, and he pleads not guilty. Moving his application for bail, his counsel, Mr. Mahmoud Magaji, asked the court to grant him bail on self-recognition and on the same grounds and conditions of bail already granted him by a sister court led by Justice Hamza Muazu. He adds that Mr. Emefiele will always be present in court to face trial. We'll bring you further details on that proceedings as it unfolds. Let's also tell you that ongoing is the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission is meeting with representatives of media executives in Abuja. The meeting is a continuation of the consultative meetings scheduled ahead of the Edo and Ondo elections. The INEC chairman calls for support of the media to help with the mobilization of the electorate to turn out for the exercise, and they will be taking place both in September and November. The INEC chairman also announces vacancies in some states and federal constituencies, especially 4 states, and they include Rivers, Kano, Kaduna, and Jigawa states as a result of death and recognition of those legislators. Again, a coalition of youths comprising the Arewa Political Vanguard and Tinubu Youth Network occupied the headquarters of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to ask the Anti-Graft Agency to probe the former governor of the state, Bello Matawalle, who is the now Minister of State for Defense. This is the 3rd time in the last month that the groups will besiege the headquarters of the Anti-Graft Agency. This time around, the protesters are querying the EFCC for refusing to continue with investigations that it started despite several petitions and protests at the headquarters. Meanwhile, the spokesperson of the commission, Mr. Oladele Oyewale, gives assurances of the commission that it will revisit the investigation. And it's now time to intimate you on what played out at the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja, where the federal government has approved an initiative aimed at spurring economic growth through investment in infrastructure and housing sector. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edu, gave details of this after a FEC meeting that spanned 2 days. Our State House correspondent Lanre Lasisi reports that the president also suspended the controversial cybersecurity levy of 0.5% introduced by the CBN.
Cabinet members and other members of the Federal Executive Council converge on the council chamber in the presidential villa. With the arrival of President Bola Tinubu, the FEC meeting that began the day before gets underway. A few hours later, some ministers appeared to brief State House correspondents. Among the approvals from the meeting is one initiative aimed at infusing funds into the infrastructure and housing sector to stimulate economic growth. It will also enhance job creation and inclusive growth.
There is available in Nigeria long-term funds to fund infrastructure projects, and it's within the pension, life insurance and investment fund industry generally. There is upwards of 20 trillion naira available, and much of it is in short-term funding that it doesn't need to be. Pension money is long-term. we are now able to announce, and with the full knowledge and support of all parties, that there will be an initiative to fund growth through investment in infrastructure, including housing, provision of mortgages, long-term mortgages, 25-year mortgages at relatively low interest rates.
The minister also touched on government's efforts to encourage electric and CNG transportation in the country.
The procurement is on. 600 buses are on their way, and as I said, they are not all to be purchased fully built. There's also a large portion that all the assemblers that are available in Nigeria have been given business, they've been given orders. Also, there are about 30,000 conversion kits coming in.
Council also considered the controversy surrounding the cybersecurity levy on electronic banking transactions.
The position of government is that that policy has been suspended. That policy has been put on hold. That is the position of government for now. It is undergoing some form of review.
The Minister of Power also spoke on the approvals to help enhance the national grid and power supply in the country.
For the contract for procurement of 10 numbers of 500 kV, 33 kV, 415 volts acting transformers, and 10 numbers of 33 kV acting reactors for the transmission company of Nigeria. Now, the impact of these acting transformers and reactor is actually to enhance the optimum performance of the national grid, as we have witnessed incessant collapse and disturbance on the grid. This will go a long way in strengthening and expanding the grid.
Council also approved the sum of 400 million naira that will be for power generating sets, which will act as backup for solar-powered streetlights in the FCT. From the presidential villa, Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
Let's head to Rivers State, where the governor, Siminalayi Fubara, has decried the debt burden inherited from previous administrations, saying most of the project commissioned in the state were not fully funded. Governor Fubara stated this during the commissioning of Aleto Ogale, a Etio Road, also known as Old Bori Road, in Eleme local government area of the state.
Going with a white paper to show record and amount this project was awarded at the cost of 6.7 billion. And I can say boldly that no kobo is remaining. We've paid the contractor completely. The purpose of this is to let the world know that if there is one problem this administration has, is debt. Most of the projects that are being commissioned, they are coming for their balance payment, and it's running in millions and billions. I've said I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk because I am part of that system.
Oh, that is going to be the crux of our conversation in just a moment. Former Speaker of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, legal practitioner, as well as a former member of the House of Reps, Mr. Nofio Luke will be joining me to break it down. But let's tell you that we'll be crossing over to Imo State on our DSTV platform alone for the NNPC presidential commissioning of the 3 critical gas infrastructure. Is at the AGPC gas plant as a community in Haji Egbema local government area in Imo State. So the president virtually will be commissioning that infrastructure on our DSTV platform. Our terrestrial and our streaming platforms continues right here with Lunchtime Politics. And then, of course, we've been joined on the program, as I said, by Honorable Nofio Luke. He's a legal practitioner, a former Speaker of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, and a former member of the House of Reps. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Honorable Nofio, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Right, it's good to be here.
Well, you know, we invited you because you are the kind of person who will say you've seen that, done that. Can you hear me, Honorable?
Yeah, I can hear now.
All right. I said we invited you because we know that you've seen that, done that. I remember in 2018 you had a similar scenario play out when you were Speaker of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly. You declared 5 seats vacant. Itu, Etemekbo Ika, Esienudim Ikono, Nkpadeni, that involved, I think Idomesin Itwen, Gideon, Etim, and I think Victor Dofia, all of those guys. It was quite a scenario. So when you look at what is playing out in Rivers State, what do you see?
What is playing out in Rivers State, it's in a larger scale than what happened when I presided over the House of Assembly as a Speaker in 2018. And I did that because the law was on my side as a legal practitioner, not just then as a Speaker of the House of Assembly, but as the first amongst equal. I took the oath of office to defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and defend the law of the land. And so I had to abide by the tenets, the spirit, and the letters of the Constitution as enshrined in Section 109, Sub 1, Sub G, that deals with the tenure of seat of members of the House of Assembly. And so I had to declare that seat vacant. So judging that with what is happening in Rivers, the law is very clear. And there are only 2 instances where the proviso in Section 109, Sub 1, Paragraph G permit, which is either a major or a division. Now, I'm a member of the People's Democratic Party. There is no division in the People's Democratic Party as it is, not at the national level. And there is no major of the People's Democratic Party with any other party. And so, as such proviso does not avail the other 27 members of the House of Assembly. They have defected to another party, and by law, by operation of the law, they all have ceased to become members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. And the law is clear, and not just an ordinary law, the ground norm, the Constitution from which every other law follows. So the House of Assembly today, as it constitutes in Rivers State, is backed up by law because the law abhors vacuums. And so the members who have elected their speaker, in this case, have the law on their side, have the Constitution on their side, and have the document.
Oh dear. Honorable, can you hear me? Honorable, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, go on. Just a little glitch. So you can go ahead, please, and land on your thoughts.
Okay, I said that the 27 members of the House of Assembly has lost their membership of the Rivers State House of Assembly by reason of law. And I speak here because it's a national issue, not because I have any interest in Rivers politics. But again, because Rivers is the neighbor to a state where I come from, Akwa Ibom, and then having been in such situation before as the Speaker of Akwa Ibom House of Assembly in 2018, and I applied the law. And so the law as it is that the remaining members of the Rivers State House of Assembly are well protected by the law, and they are a well-constituted House of Assembly to take on the business of legislating for the good and the good governance and peace of Rivers State. And everything that they have done and everything they will continue to do is sanctioned by law, and they are on the right part of it. And so they are right because the 27 other members have lost their seat as members of the House of Assembly. The only thing they have to do now is to go and test their popularity again by asking the people to give them their mandate in election back into the House, because by reason of quorum, the House has to form a quorum, and that quorum has to be by members who are well elected. In this case, they have to go and seek their mandate from the people again to be elected into the Rivers State House of Assembly.
It looks like a very difficult situation, but let's speak to some of the things you've highlighted here, because I also know that when you were in the House of Representatives, you were Chairman House Committee on Judiciary, so you're familiar with the laws. So now, by an executive order 001, the governor has said that, look, because of the demolished structure of the assembly quarters, the people who they call pro-fubara lawmakers, as it is referred to, are now sitting in the government house. So they've done their one of their very first responsibility was to screen and confirm the person who has now become the Attorney General of the state. Doesn't that affect the separation of powers?
Separation of powers does not only lie in buildings. It lies in the operation of the different arms of government. And for instance, before the building of the present Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, in 1992, completed, I think about 1999, the House of Assembly used to sit in the vicinity of what we call the Hilltop Mansion, and then where the Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs in the state is occupying as of now. And that does not affect the House of Assembly in performing its duty, in performing its function as a watchdog on the executive and as a watchdog on the judiciary. It does not impede, it does not fetter them in acting as a check and balance on the actions of the executive. So whether they sit in the government house, they have to have a way, an environment where it is conducive, where there is security. And if the present House of Assembly was demolished because of their challenges, the House too, not just necessarily by executive order, the House too can take a decision on their own and say, because the provision of the Constitution, I think Section 60, gives the House of Assembly and the National Assembly, the legislature, the right to regulate their procedures. And one of the things to regulate their procedures is in the conduct of the House, where they should sit, how many times they should sit, and they have to sit where it is convenient. And so that does not fetter, it does not at all fetter their duties of checks and balance. It does not fetter the separation, or it does not make nullity of the separation of power principles as propounded by Baron de Montesquieu. And so they are performing their functions to the best interest of Rivers people.
A presidential intervention has even failed. In fact, that presidential intervention at some point in Rivers State triggered more crisis. One of the two issues that has been on contention is the issue of representing a budget to what they call a properly constituted house. Now that a possible political resolution hasn't been able to, stop all of this crisis, and we're having constitutional concern, from your point of view, how do we proceed from here?
I want to say that I appreciated, and I still appreciate, the intervention of the president, and I understand why that intervention is very necessary. I speak from a national perspective now. You know that Rivers contribute badly to oil quota. I think after Delta is Akwa Ibom, and then Rivers in the production quota. And so anything that affects the security of Rivers State will affect oil production, and by consequences will affect the resources of the country. And so with it, I believe that was the philosophy that propelled Mr. President to intervene. And I want to appreciate the humility. I say it with all sense of responsibility. I want to appreciate the humility and the respect that the governor of Rivers State had for Mr. President to be able to go backward and then accommodate a few things. My brother, let us just allow the rules of what we call the golden rules to play. Do unto others what you wish others to do unto you. Which chief executive of the state will take the kind of insult and the kind of backlashes that members of the executive council would give to a governor of a state? The members resigned from the state executive council, the president intervened, and then the governor recalled those members of the state executive council back as commissioners. That was the governor showing respect to the president and showing respect and honor to the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And then on the issue of the budget, I want to believe, because I didn't follow I have not followed deeply the story about presentation of the budget, but if the budget was presented to the House of Assembly and it was properly constituted with the remaining members who are members backed by the Constitution, then the budget had been duly presented and approved by that House, and that is why the governor is focused. That is why the governor is going about commissioning the project, and most importantly, even completing the project of last administration. I'm not here to speak about the governor of Rivers, but to speak about the things that makes for the good governance, the betterment of Rivers people and by extension, Nigerians.
At the core of this, again, is a question of Godfatherism, which has been a bane of Nigerian politics. You are familiar with this space. You've been a lawmaker, you're a lawyer, you've been a governorship aspirant, so you understand the long haul. One of the big issues, in fact, the beginning, as we know, is the issue of a godfather and a godson. Going forward, how do we, I wouldn't say it's possible to eliminate it, but minimally manage this so that it doesn't make the people collateral damage when a godfather and a godson are fighting? Because right now, every other page you open, every other conversation you open, even the remarks of both men in public fora is not necessarily about development or governance or accountability. It's about war and fight.
Yeah, I have always said it. In my life, all what I've ever wanted in my life, there have been people who have helped me to ascend to political offices. Like the Senate President today helped me to get into macro politics, the Senior Senator Godfatherism when he was a governor. And then I see him as a mentor. And I would always continue to see him as a mentor. And then the former governor of the state, Governor Dongo. But I don't agree on the issue of Godfatherism. The difference being that the mentor allows you to have your own mind and have your own say, and then gives your own opinion. But the Godfather wants you to be a zombie without having your own perspective to any issue, and any dissenting views is seen as disloyalty. And so what do we need to do? We need to allow those who are prepared for leadership to contest for positions. I never supported Governor Sim as the governor of Rivers State because Governor Sim, in his own individual instance, did not. I want to say that he probably did not, looking at the beginning of politics, was not interested in becoming the governor of Rivers State. And then it had to be the leadership of the state as at then who prompted him up to come as the governor of the state. There were better people, I must say this, like people like Chief Felix Obua called Joram. There was a former Speaker of the House, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representative, Sir Austin Opara. And these were men that have the qualities of Senator Lee Naiba, men who have served in public service. Why were they not chosen? There was a reason. So when people say that Sir Sim Fubara was done a favor, I know. Whosoever chose Sir Sim Fubara did himself a favor because he knew why he chose Sir Sim Fubara against other people who have tested political and public service credentials to have said that governor of Rivers State. And so while we have come here and have come at this level, what is most important is that God uses men to make men. And God has used the former governor of Rivers State, the minister of FCT, which I hold in high regard, and everybody hold in high regard, and I esteem, and other leaders of the state, and even the voters, to support Sir Sim Fubara to emerge as the governor. He should be allowed to run the government. And then if there is anything that he needs to do to pay obeisance, not servitude, to pay obeisance because you must be able to service the political structure that brought you, then he should not be treated as if he's an orphan. He should be allowed to deliver the dividends of democracy to the people of Rivers State, which he's doing excellently well, I must say so, because for him, I saw yesterday in the news that he has gone to commission a project that was started by the last administration, which he has paid well, according to him, about 6 billion naira in that project, and many other projects that he has lined up that I saw in the news and the social media that he has lined up to commission in his first year in administration. I must commend him for his focus, not minding the distraction, not minding the crisis that we are. The earlier we resolve the crisis in Rivers and allow Governor Sim, because people are doing the things against Governor Sim today will not take 1/3 of what they have done against Governor, not even over 1,000 of what they've done against Governor Sim today when they were holding sway. And so they should allow Governor Sim the position to become a governor. He has emerged as a governor. He should be respected as a governor. And then he should be allowed to deliver the dividends of democracy, especially in these trying times, in these times of economic doldrums, in these times of hardship. He should be allowed to focus and think and deliver for the services and the good of the people of Rivers State.
Honorable Emefiele, quite a delight talking to you on this particular issue. Your wealth of experience came in handy. Thank you so much for your time. Honorable Emefiele is a legal practitioner. He calls himself a private citizen now. A former Speaker of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly and a former member of the House of Representatives, Chairman of the House Committee on Judiciary. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Just before we wrap up, 2 members of the Abia State House of Assembly have defected to the Labour Party from the Young Progressives Party. The lawmakers, Yenacho Nwogo, representing Osisioma North State Constituency, and Fine Aguama, representing Osisioma South State Constituency, cite the accomplishment of Governor Alex Oti as a reason for defection. While receiving both lawmakers at the government house in Umuahia, Governor Oti promises that his party will provide a level playing ground for all.
Leadership of Labour Party in the state, on behalf of the leadership of Labour Party in the country, and on behalf of the government and people of Abia State, I want to sincerely welcome you to Labour Party. You've come to the right place, and I would like to assure you that having welcomed you, that we are going to do everything possible to make you comfortable in the party and to support you in your political aspirations and in also serving your people in Osisioma. But that's the most important thing.
There has been a lot of development in Abia State, especially in that our sciences. And there's no way anybody can come to say he's not going to be part of the development. We are proud of what is happening in Abia today. We are proud, especially of what is happening in Osisioma axis, the Ekapara-Osisioma road. It is a very important road for us. And other places, other things that the governor is doing. So we will not sit back and watch from afar. So we decided we have been wanting to come into the party. As of today, in the House, I declared my membership of the Labour Party.
And that's it on the program. But just before we go, we're following all political stories across the country. Senator Magnus Abia was a governorship aspirant under the Social Democratic Party in Rivers State, and he said he has left the SDP, perhaps moving to the APC. So at the moment, he's arrived at the Freedom House, where his campaign headquarters is, and we expect a major announcement, maybe officially defecting from the SDP to the APC. We'll see how that plays out as far as Senator Magnus Abia's political journey is concerned. Thank you so much for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics.